Hey, blissful friends, welcome to the Blissology podcast. I am your host, CeCe, and I am joined by my co-host, my hubby.
Hey everybody, this is Willem. Glad to be here with CeCe today, and obviously you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today on our first podcast, and where we are going to talk about love, life, and what else, babe?
All the stuff that comes with being on this planet. So everything.
Everything. So before we get started, like before we jump into our topic for today, one thing that I was telling my husband earlier, I was like, we should do something before we really jumping into what we're gonna talk about. It's the one thing, like one blissful thing about you. Like name one blissful thing that happened to you today, babe.
Let's say I worked out this morning, which is not normally how I spent my Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. So
Yes. And how did you feel about it?
it feels great. I mean, it's been a while since I've actually worked out.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, since February, so 7 months.
I would say even before that.
Well, it started slacking right around the beginning of the new year, but it didn't go to a hard stop until late February, early March, and since then, I stayed away.
Yes.
Sort of. It's on me.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with COVID. I think it's on me because.
So I feel like COVID happened and then
I stopped working out. But you worked out also this morning, so how did you
yes,
feel about
that's one. Yes, it was great. I actually felt like, and you saw me, I was sweating. I was
Actually,
like,
you had not sweat since because you've done nothing besides
I've
being
done nothing.
home and be with the kids.
Did he just say I've done nothing?
Barely go out. In terms of exercising, I mean, she's in the AC every day.
Well, I've done things, hubby of mine.
Not working out things.
Not
Let me just
working
correct what I said.
I know what you meant.
She's done stuff, but not physical
Yes.
things like that. Yes.
I agree. But this morning was great. I got up this morning and I told my husband, I'm like, listen, you know what? I'm going to start my workout today and we're going to, take on and keep going until not like the end of the year. It's not a resolution because my birthday is in December. I got to prep my body for December, like we all do. But I think it's more like I want to be the girl. I want to look good again, Not that I don't look good. I was waiting that he would have said that. Babe, you don't look good. You look good, babe. Listen. But I think I felt like it's time for me to really take on and then just challenge myself and push myself and work out. So that was really, really good. And I feel like...
You look great.
Yes. Maybe I lost 1 pound this morning with all this sweat.
I think it's 1.5.
Anyways, again, if you are now joining us, I am CeCe, your host of the Blissology podcast, and this is my hubby.
Will, don't get
my co-host. Yes. So, whatever he just said, guys, I don't know. He's a little weird, just so you know. You might see him do things that's like a little bit unusual. That's my husband, right? So. Be careful. Watch out for him. So, yes, baby. So, the topic for today is what, babe?
How do we... Well, we all have a story. We all have a story. It's not, out of the blue, the lightning hits the planet or the air where we are and we kind of emerge. No. We all came from somewhere. So, I think... It makes sense on our first podcast to kind of give you guys an idea of where we are, where we came from, and how we get to be here today talking to you.
Yes.
So, how do we get to be here?
Yes. How do we get how? Why don't you just tell the audience a little bit of, about our background, how we met, how we first started.
It started thousands of years ago with that. I mean, even no, but
I am not that old, okay?
but
well, I'm not old.
But 15, 16 years ago to be
Yes.
exact, 2004. there was an event in our area, a youth group from one of the local churches normally put the event. It's an annual event that they put together, and I happened to attend it back in 2004, and I was impressed with what they did, and I said, I need to join in. I think I can learn from them, and maybe I can contribute. So the following Sunday, I went in and I asked to join. I didn't know that CeCe was in that group.
Yeah.
But
And
she
then-
was there and she started stalking me.
Listen, you were stalking me, okay? You were stalking me.
Well, she wasn't stalking me, but I was interested in her. Not on the first day, obviously. Over time.
It's like you went to the youth group and you're like, there's a lot of fish here. Let me see which one I'm gonna catch. Right? Right?
I am a religious person. We don't go to church to fish. We go to church to get the word of God. And if Jesus happened to bless us with a good woman, we take it.
Ah, I love that.
See,
Okay.
that's what I mean. So I was blessed with a good woman, and I am.
So you
very,
found Jesus.
I found Jesus in you. So,
Aw.
and I'm blessed. Yes.
That's
So,
nice to say.
So yeah, that's kind of like our very very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we started seeing each other. I think a year after I joined the
you
group
joined the
in
group, yeah.
2005.
You know, you gotta let them
And-
chase you. You know, like not just like, hey, a month later we got together. No,
That woman's
no,
game.
no. Listen, I play hard to get, okay, because I know my worth. I can't just let somebody just like in the first week or first month.
If I knew now
If you
what
knew
I didn't know
now,
then,
what? Then you would not have found Jesus. I'll tell you that.
anyway. So yes, we started seeing each other after a year
A
after
year
I joined
later.
the group, and we had a chance to serve on the
board.
community, the committee,
The
what they call
board,
it, the
the
e-board,
e-board.
the executive committee of the group.
Yes.
So we got to work together, get to know each other a little bit more, and we kind of started getting very serious around maybe a couple of years after that. And then in 2008,
Yeah.
I proposed, and by then I had graduated college, and she was just in the process of finishing up.
My senior year.
We committed, and we got married in 2010. So since then, she's been on my back.
I think it's more like you've been on my back.
But it's
We've been on each other's back. Okay.
well, I'm heavy. I can't be on her back. So yeah, we got married in 2010, and we had our first daughter a year later.
Yes.
Well, just about a little bit over a year later.
Yes, but let's just say that, you know, when we were dating, it wasn't that easy for him because my parents are very strict. My parents would not let any man whatsoever come into the home at any time.
I was
All right.
interrogated.
He was, you know, you tried.
I was sat down and I asked a series of
Yes.
questions. If any of you guys have seen Meet the Parents with what's his name, Ben
Tyler?
Stiller.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Well, I wasn't given a lie detector test, but I was
Which they
questioned.
should have.
I was questioned, and good thing I was well prepped, so I give the answers
You
that they
studied
wanted.
very well.
Of course.
That the whole month.
Listen,
huh?
when you know parents do certain things, you
And
kinda
I want to
prep
say
for it.
the strict one. The parents who like hold their kids like you're not going out of state into college. You staying home locally. You going to college, a home college like a university in your town. And my parents were so strict to the point where after you proposed to me, you had to come. Did you ask them before you proposed to me, right?
I kind of didn't, but I did get the feeling that I was expected to.
Yes. And I like the fact that when you drop me home, and we go out on the movies or whatnot, we go to the movies and we come home, and my mom will be sitting right by the door waiting for me to get home. And you can't.
There
If
was
you
that too.
and I had a curfew. I had a curfew. I'm in college. I had a curfew, and there's no way we can pass or I can go over that time. So if I'm coming home at a time, if it's like 10 minutes later, I'm not home. I get a call from my mom. Where are you?
I think she was given a cell phone for the sole reason that they can check on her. But you know what? I appreciate it. And now that we have our own children that we're raising, I can see the importance
Yes.
of parenting. So,
Yes. Our
so
parents are
this-
OG, like old school. They're like, they don't play. They don't play. And I think we're
well,
gonna
parents are not supposed to play. They're grown-ups.
some parents are very laid back. They're like, oh, whatever. You have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, you do whatever. You go out and do it and come on any time you want. But I think the strict ones, I definitely see you and I are going to be very strict when it comes to our daughters. If you're dating someone, we need to see him. We need to see his ID. We need to see his date of birth.
See
where
his
he's
credit.
from, see his credit, and see if he has good credit for our daughters. And on top of that, you're not dating anyone until you're done college, until you finish with your school. You're working, and nobody's gonna come in my house and ask to date one of my daughters, if you don't have a job, if you're not done, if you're not in college. All right, I have a list already, and my girls are only 8 and 5. Listen,
She's got it all planned now.
I'm surprised you don't.
Oh, I don't have to. If you planned it, why should I? But so this is where, up until we got married, I had to go through some stuff. I know we wanted to go to Orlando.
Oh my God, yes.
And I was in the process of
We
booking
were
the ticket
dating.
for 2
We were
days.
engaged.
And that's just what you're planning on going this day, and when are you coming back?
Listen,
Like, yeah, the following day. It's like you no. You're gonna get up really early. I'm not saying she can't go, but you're gonna get up really early. You make sure you get there before the theme park open.
yep.
You go and you enjoy your day. I don't know if you get there a little late, but she's not sleeping out.
Oh my God, that is yes.
Yes, so
We
I
were
gotta-
engaged at that time. We couldn't even sleep. We couldn't even stay one night over. Okay.
But the thing was, and now that I have children, I can see what's okay. You're sleeping out where you're gonna sleep in the same bed, and what's going to happen in that
and
bed.
you know what's gonna happen.
I had no intentions.
You're
Like I said,
right.
I'm a religious person. I believe there's certain things that shouldn't happen before certain thing happen. So this is up until in 2010 we obviously got married, got our first daughter, and then 3 years later we had our second daughter.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
been our marital
Journey.
life and,
Yes.
and our family.
Parents'
As far as
life.
career wise, we both had job in corporate America, and I'm still working.
Before you get to that, I want to say, it's not that easy to find a man who still live with his parents prior of getting married, because you were still living at your parents' house.
I lived
Which
at my
is
parents
weird,
until I
right?
got married. I attended a
Maybe
local
not.
university. I attended FAU, so I commuted to school. I stayed at my parents'. My dad built an extra room for me, so I think he wanted me to stay.
Your dad didn't want you to go.
My dad built an extra room just so I could have my comfort. I had my own bathroom and my own,
Your
area.
own- yeah.
So
it's
I
like your
could
board,
be in.
your
and
board room.
I just didn't have my own exit door. I had to use the same exit door that he used. But it was comfortable. But I stayed at home until I got married, and
yes.
and you know what? There's some value in it because I was able to save me enough money. I left my parents' house. We bought our house before we even
Yes.
we bought our house like 6 months.
Yes.
5. October and February. Yeah, 5 months before we got married.
Yeah.
So that helped us make sure that we got settled.
Yes, and one thing I really like about the fact that, after we got married, we moved into the house, and the house was all furnished.
Well, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
we planned it, which I know many kids these days, young men or young women, they want to experience it. And I have nothing against experiencing life on your own. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of things we learn,
Yes.
but it's not the only way to
Right.
learn things. Obviously, I stayed at home and I saw the benefit in staying home. Yes, I had other choices that I would have considered, but I looked to see if I stayed, what do I gain in return?
Well, you ain't gonna go anywhere. Your dad built you a home.
Oh yes. And listen,
Your dad built you a home.
and our parents, as much as they may have raised us in traditional ways, and they did what they could to raise us the best way they knew how.
Yes.
We got to give them a lot of credit because they did whatever they had to do to give us the best that they could, including not letting you sleep out
Yes.
when we got on a trip. So it was
Yeah.
all for our own good. And sometimes at the time, some of us don't quite see the benefits
Right,
in it because
right.
my friends is doing that, I want to do it. But that us,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
we went the unusual ways. I've told people that I stayed at home until I got married and then I moved into
Which
my own
is
house.
very-
And I was like, what? You were like 27, 28? You still living at home? It's like, yes, I was. And they
What's
looked at
wrong
me
with you?
funny.
Like, who does that?
But they didn't realize that when I moved out, I had enough money saved to actually put a decent down payment on my house.
Yeah.
Didn't have to borrow money from my parents to buy it. We furnished our property.
Yes.
So that allowed me to put enough money away to do these things. Many kids sometimes they need money from their parents just so they can move into an apartment.
Yes.
I didn't
yes.
have to do that.
Yes.
So obviously we got married in
Yeah.
2010. We had our children and
2011. We have a daughter.
2011,
First daughter.
And we just, but sorry, Nicole, but we had we both had career jobs.
Yes.
In corporate America. Obviously, I know after 2011, you left the retail end of it. You kind of like did the back office support. I've been dealing with people
All
for
your
as
life.
long as I can remember.
20 years.
And we all have things that we love. And obviously now you are on your own, running your own business.
Yes.
And I'm still hybrid somewhat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with, still working for corporate
absolutely.
America. I think, the time that I was there, it was, it pays the bills, right? It pays the bills. And I think, it kind of give you a future too.
Well,
Especially
we learned a whole lot. I mean, I know I've learned a whole lot
Yes.
working because, you find many people say, maybe we find reason to complain, about they're not getting this, they're not getting that.
Yeah, but I think too, when you work for a company before you really take on your own, like do your own stuff, you kind of learn the structure of building
yeah.
your own and be disciplined enough, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have this waking up at a certain time. You got to be up and get to work at a certain time, and then get up at a certain time and get home at a certain time. That kind of like help you build that structure. When you have your own business, you basically doing something very similar. Like I have my own business, and I would wake up at a certain time, and I would come into the office at a certain time, and leave the office at a certain time, go make dinner, and wait until hubby get home, and then do the things that I need to do later on, right?
So structure is important, but going back,
Yes.
we both had jobs. Obviously, you had an experience that obviously at the time was happening. It wasn't
Yeah.
the easiest experience to deal with, but that gave you the opportunity and the ability to venture into a different world, which
Yes.
is where you are now.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that happened about 2 years
years ago, yeah.
just about 2 years ago.
If you had asked me, CeCe, I want you to come here and make, and do this, what would I tell him, babe?
No way. This is not for me.
This is not for
I don't
me.
want to. I don't want to be in any of that.
Yep.
This, get away from me.
I would not want to do this. Let's just say that this is something, because I'm shy. But I don't think I'm shy like the way I used to anymore.
Yeah. Well, you've grown. She's grown. She's grown.
I'm a grown woman.
And we all have things that we can do, but sometimes we don't realize that until we're put in a position that's challenging and we have to make some changes. And you had to do that. I mean,
God
I've
had
had
to
to
do
make
it.
I've had to make a lot of changes in my life due to things that I've come across, some crazy experiences that I've had, and we all could potentially be doing something different.
Yes, and I think sometimes, when you feel that there's something more that you should be doing, but you're not willing to leave on your own, God will make things happen
You'll
for
get
you to
a
move.
little nudge, a little push
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a
It's
big
like,
push.
hey, what you doing? Go. You know?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a big push you get,
Right, right.
and it's usually very tough
Yes.
dealing with it, because when you're in the middle of it, you start questioning, why me, why that? Am I
Yes.
ever gonna come out of this? Is this the end?
Yeah.
Sometimes this thing feels like, man, there's no other options besides this.
Right.
What,
Right.
how do I recoup? Will I ever recoup? And those are the thoughts sometimes that will imprison us.
Yes.
Because the
Yes.
moment that you're thinking there's no other way, you will never find the strength to find other ways. But yeah, so you went to that experience, and this
A
kind of
life
led
transition.
to, yeah, and this
A
altogether.
shift.
I mean, we've owned a photography business since
Yes.
2011, but
Yeah.
we've been on the other side of the camera. But since you've made the change to what you do now, it's taking us in a completely different direction,
Absolutely.
and sharing with you and the rest of the world.
And I think that kind
is
of like
important.
give us that flexibility, right? By having your wife as an entrepreneur and then your husband, it really gives you that flexibility.
Oh, it does.
It makes you.
If you take,
Yes.
if you look at what's going on right now with COVID, where in our area the kids, the school system is doing hybrid, where some kids parents have the options to do virtual, and some parents, if they have no choice, they have to send the kids to school. Obviously, they have number of measures in place to make sure that social distancing and all the precautionary measures are taken. For us, we didn't have to make any major adjustment, because
Right.
you had already gone through your entrepreneurship and running your own business. So when that time came, we just kind of adjust your schedule, and you could cater to the kids while I continue working. Because had both of us been working the 9 to 5, it would have been difficult. And our kids, if we couldn't leave our jobs, our kids would have been back in school, which I think there's still a major health risk to children, because they're young, 8 and
Right.
5,
Yes.
following directions and staying away from each other.
I don't
It's a
think that would
challenge.
work.
I feel
Yeah.
bad for the teachers who are having to take care of these kids, and obviously I know that they've been keeping the class sizes pretty small, but that worked out okay for us.
Right.
It almost seems like you went through your
Yes.
challenge just to kind of prep us for this.
Yes.
Is had we
Yes.
not gone that route, it would have been difficult.
Yeah, I feel like God was already preparing this, for us before we really jump in there. Otherwise, we would have to make a decision. I feel like we would have to make a choice. We would have to make a decision to really decide on what's gonna work for both of us, because we
Yeah.
have to make it happen. He works out, leave the house every morning, and come home in the evening, and I would have to leave my job eventually and do something else. But you know what? When you faithfully trust God and you know that He's in your favor, you trust Him, and a lot of time things just turn out for your good. And I
Absolutely.
think if what happened 2 years ago didn't happen, we may have been like in a lot. I feel like our life would be a lot.
It would have been different.
It would have been
It
different.
would have been very different.
It would have been different
So,
because so we definitely, like we said in the beginning of our podcast, we're a very religious person, and we believe God. Whatever happened for a reason, and we truly feel that if you are going through something right now, whether if it's financially or whatever it is, that there's going to be a shift, there's a turnaround. That whatever that you're going through right now is because there's an overcome coming for you, right? So it's definitely going to like change in your favor. So you got to trust and believe in God and have faith and know that whatever situation that's happening right now, it's happening for something good is coming. Right?
Yes.
Because what do they say again? You got to go through the storm in order to see the rainbow.
I think so.
Yeah, something.
I think
like
I've
that.
heard something along those lines.
Yes. So, but
This is us.
yes.
This is us. This is our story.
Our story for now, but Yes, we wanted to make sure that our first podcast that you get to know a little bit more about us. Definitely, we're gonna bring more stories, the things that we've gone through, like our crazy moment, which we have plenty. Our kids moment, things that we want to share with you. Whatever, if it's through our experience or through the world experience, right? Because I'm not into politics. I know my husband is. He can be. Um, he is. He can be. He's a wise man, and I feel like a lot of time that my husband, when he really engage in a conversation, he just like go at it. He's a talker. He likes to talk, and there's nothing wrong with people who like to talk. He's just don't know when to stop talking. Okay, that's just how it is. If you know my husband, he just don't know how to stop talking, and I know
She's
me.
putting my business out.
I just go like this. Listen, babe, it's time out. It's time. Like, okay, cut it off. But for those of you who know him, he's just a talker, and he talked great amount of talk, and I think he shared great amount of ideas to a lot of time to younger kids, like the kids that goes to our church. He's kind of like a motivator for them. He motivates them, and a great speaker. We all need that, and I feel like he's kind of like a big brother to the little ones like that are like coming up in their teenage years. So they look up to him because listen, when you have someone who really knows what he does, even though he may talk a lot, but yet what he's saying really makes you feel like, man, you know what, Will is right. Makes you realize that whatever that you were going through makes you not really not really doubt yourself, right?
Yes. Let me just say, thank you. She's usually my cut it out, but I appreciate that.
So you were just cutting me out.
No. I will not cut you out. But
I am proud of him. I am proud, and I think if you're a spouse, if you're a wife or a husband, you should be proud of your spouse. You should let them know that, hey, listen, babe, I'm proud of who you are. I'm proud of how you really, when you do certain things, and it really motivates other people. So yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing goes for you. I mean, you've grown into the person you are today. Mm-hmm. You've overcome all the fears and all these crazy ideologies that would keep you back from trying new things. You've kicked those to the side, and
yes.
And we recognize our strength, and we also recognize our weaknesses.
Yes.
We have things that we continue to work on, and as individuals, I think until we die, we'll always have something that we can do better.
Absolutely.
And our goal is to continue to find that something.
Yes, and we will find that something. We will find that something.
So that's us. I mean, we're not expert in many of these areas.
We're not perfect.
But I think our experiences could be could help someone, and we welcome any feedback. And maybe some of you guys are going through different experience that can help us, or maybe we can take your experience and share it with others that can help them.
Yes.
So, but this is us raw.
Yes, for real. We were not prepped for this. This is us, and we wanted to come clear and be who we are, and that's exactly what we did.
All right. Well, I thank you for having me. I mean, obviously.
You my co-host.
Oh, I'm
so you always gonna be here.
I can own this thing. Then you know what she said? I talk a lot. Next episode, I'm gonna take it over. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and please remember to
check us out on all the different social media channels. It'll be on YouTube under I Am CeCe Bliss. It'll be on Facebook also under I Am CeCe Bliss. It'll be on SoundCloud under I Am CeCe Bliss, TuneIns under I Am CeCe Bliss, and also iTunes under I Am CeCe Bliss. So please check us out, leave us some comments, and we'll be coming out to you every Saturday.
Yes.
Sometime during the day. It'll be pushed out. Please do subscribe so you can get notification once we put out any new episode. This is episode 1.
Our first one. So
right.
we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace.